We're looking at partly sunny skies, mostly clear tomorrow night. Alamogordo tomorrow, high of 64, low of 41. For Cloudcroft tomorrow, high of 55, and an overnight low of 34 degrees. There are no roadblocks scheduled today on either Highway 70 or 54 South. For the latest roadblock information, call 575-678-1178.
This is the KNMZ Football Roundtable, Season 32. 5 local business people in a competition picking winners from the best high school, college, and NFL games every week. Manny Gonzalez from Charles Garland and Harris Agency, Brandon Burling from Desert Sun Auto Group, Timothy Brock of Christ Community Church, Jake Roberts with Coldwell Banker Sudderth Nelson, and Lara Conway of First National Bank. Now, let's get to the picks. You're listening to ESPN Alamogordo 103.7. Welcome into the KNMZ Football Roundtable. It is the 13th week of the program for this year and another week of playoffs for our area football teams, which is very exciting. And we'll be talking about that coming up here in just a little bit. Of course, we'll throw in some college and pro picks for you guys throughout the show as well. And we'll start over here with Manny Gonzalez of Charles Garland and Harris Agency. Second week in a row, Manny, that you topped the sheets. That's not too bad.
Well, every day, every dog has his day, as they say, right? Is that how it goes? Happy National Christmas Tree in Alamogordo Day. It's going to be at the fairgrounds here in a little while.
Yep, the Capitol Christmas Tree will be at the fairgrounds at, I think, 12:30.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it is cool.
I think that's really cool, that one of the trees coming out of one of our northern New Mexico forests, but that it's taking a lap around the state.
Yeah.
That is really, really cool.
What do you come at, Santa Fe National Forest? Is that what it's
I'm sorry, I forget which forest, but it's one of those great forests up in the north, and I just think that's really cool. I'm impressed with that. I'm going to go by and take pictures.
All right, very good. We got Justin Phillips here from First National Bank filling in for Lara Conway. Justin, you doing okay, man?
Yes, sir. Not too bad. Can't complain.
Pull that mic up a little bit closer to you there, so yeah, get you a little. There you go. All right, Justin's doing good. We're waiting on Brandon and Tim, or a fill-in for Brandon, one of the two. Tim's actually, for him, he's not even late yet. So we've got Jake Roberts from Coldwell Banker Sudderth Nelson. Jake, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. That's all right. We don't need them anyway. We got Manny. Manny will hold the fort down.
Well, no, we were walking in. Jake says, "Looks like we may be kind of thin today." I says, "As long as you're here, bro, because you've got the chatter down. I'm just a pedestrian watching the parade."
And Tim, if you're listening, you need to know that Jake was eyeing your seat before.
You gotta tell him. It's not a power move if you tell him.
Oh, that's right. Well, you just have to show up and be in the seat, is what it is.
It's not hard. I'm always here before him. So.
It's so true. But Jake likes it. He's got some extra space over where he's sitting here in the studio, so he likes that. All right. Overall, last week, 10-6 for Tim and for Brandon. 9-7 for myself, 8-8 for Jake and Lara last week. So the people at the top didn't do very well. The people at the back end did better. Not exactly that spectacular for the most part, though.
Want you either. What's up?
And Brandon Burling from Desert Sun Auto Group. Brandon, what's up, buddy?
Good morning. Good morning. Sorry,
You're
late.
fine. You're not the last one here, so that's all.
Exactly. I'd like to comment. We're not late for Tim yet, so as long as I beat Tim, I think I'm
Only way I
great.
can be here on time is I got to clear out of the building like at 10:15. I just leave.
Yeah.
I just leave and I run some errands, go to the post office, because if I stay there, you never know. Unplanned work
Somebody's
falls
gonna
from the
show
sky.
up. Yeah, there you go. We love you, Tim, by the way.
I sit in my office with the lights off like nobody knows I'm here. All right, let's go.
I'm sure Tim's probably doing something important right now, and we're all making fun of him. All right, let's go ahead and get into our first game for this week, and it is the Alamogordo Tigers still alive in the postseason after a 27-26 win over Santa Teresa. Last-second field goal won it from Brett Money. A pretty impressive effort from the Tigers. They jumped out to a 24-7 lead in the third quarter. Credit to the Desert Warriors. They came back and gave it a great game, took the lead. They botched the extra point, though, on the last touchdown that they scored, and that loomed large because Alamogordo got to win on that last-second field goal. So now it's a team that they know well with Roswell, who beat them 55-24 the last time that they played. And hopefully this doesn't sound mean, I don't think the game was actually that close, 55-24. It was 49-3 early in the third quarter. So the Tigers are going to have a much better effort this time around against Roswell. I think they threw a pick 6 on their opening drive in the first game. This is going to have to be a considerably better game, similar to what we saw against Artesia. They're going to have to play the ball control and find a way to get a few stops against that powerful Roswell offense. There's a reason why they're undefeated. They're the defending state champs and a very quality football team. But Tigers are on a roll. 2 wins in a row, Manny.
Yeah, and I don't know if Tommy told you, but he's leaving early. We're going to go to the game. We're bugging out. I can't stand it anymore. The radio's just not working for me no more. You've done a great job on the call, but I got to go see this one for myself. I'm going to be there in person.
All right.
And, and what an exciting time for the Tigers. I was thinking about it. I drove by the field house yesterday, and I thought, they haven't checked in their gear yet.
Yep.
The Tigers are still playing football, and I love it. Carla's brother played for the Roswell Coyotes back in the day, and then went on and played for NIMI. And so I've got a kind of a soft spot for the Roswell Coyotes, but not tonight. I'm going all the way Alamogordo Tigers in the upset of the season over the Roswell Coyotes in the Wool Bowl.
All right. Justin, how about you, man?
I want the Tigers to win, but I got to go Roswell.
All right. Brandon.
Alamogordo, great way to turn around what looked to be a bad season, right? So, I mean, they started off, with the kind of a botched game, with the Lightning calling it, and then they just kind of struggled. They just have had a weird season, but it doesn't matter how weird the season was. What matters is right now, right? Right now they've played the games that they needed to win, and they're up against an extremely tough team. I don't think they're going to win. I'm going to be rooting for them. Roswell is just stacked, and they've just had a great season all around. Go Tigers! I'm rooting for you, but I think Roswell's going to win this one.
All right. Tim Rock from Christ Community Church now here with us. What's up, buddy?
I just like to hear the first 5 minutes, and see who's who's attacking me, who's the Myles Garrett in this room. But you know what? I felt like Brandon, you were my Pouncy today. You came to my defense.
He did.
And you did too, Charles. You even said you love me on the radio.
I did. Yeah.
So I feel good. I feel great. That's why I'm late. I love to see the reaction. No, I just got my hair cut. That's why.
Got his haircut. Good.
Yeah.
Kudos. Look sharp, dude.
Thank you.
Look sharp.
Yeah, he left out the spike keys. Not very good spike
Well, that's because I didn't put any gel in.
Okay.
They washed it in they rubbed my head. It was beautiful.
A little more au naturel today.
Touche. Okay. You know what? I think Alamogordo, I think they've made their season with a 2-game winning streak, 2 quality opponents that they've beaten in the last 2 weeks. But I think they're going to run into a buzzsaw tonight in Roswell. But yeah, like Brandon said, definitely going for Alamogordo. But I'm gonna put Roswell down on the pick sheet.
Jake.
I hope it's not a buzzsaw. Like I said, and you clarified it up earlier, is they got beat down really bad that first game, and then just kind of came back. And I would suspect they were probably resting some of their starters and some other things. But I think Alamogordo's on a roll. I'm super stoked to see what happens with this program. I do think Roswell's going to be too much, but I'd like to see them be competitive in this game.
I think more important, more than anything else, this is such a great opportunity for this football team to get the chance to play these kind of games. And mind you, they've played these quality of teams all season long, but to get the opportunity to be in the postseason, and I've said it a lot, I'm happy for this group of seniors because 2 years ago they went through one of the toughest seasons I've watched in Tiger football, and for that group of seniors to get to enjoy this, get a win over Artesia, win a last-second game, for it to move on in the playoffs. I mean, what an awesome experience. The crowd that came over for the Santa Teresa game last Friday was excellent. They brought over the band. They brought over the cheerleaders. They're doing that again tonight. I assume there's going to be even more people over. I mean, Manny and Tommy are going to add +2 to that group this Friday night, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more that'll make the trip. I do think Roswell is, unfortunately, a little bit too good for the Tigers. I'm going to go with the Coyotes. But if Alamogordo can play a similar game to the way they did against Artesia, time of possession, control that, finish drives, and get a few stops. They don't have to stop them every time, but they've got to stop them, 2 or 3 throughout the game. They got turnovers on downs on Artesia. If it can be a similar type of game to the way they played against Artesia, they can stay in this and give themselves a chance. So it's got to be that kind of result or that kind of performance for the Tigers if they get the win tonight. But good luck to the guys. We're going to be there, of course, 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock kickoff here on ESPN Alamogordo, and we would love to see that upset, no doubt about it.
And so, just curious.
Okay.
If, by any chance, however long shot it is, however far away this bridge is, if the Tigers win tonight, what flavor humble pie will this panel be eating next week?
I'll bring you whatever kind of pie you want.
Yeah, I was going to say, if they get the win and we're seeing the Tigers against either Farmington or Deming next week, we will gladly eat that pie.
And I don't want to brag or anything, but I've been following the Alamogordo Tigers since 1980. I've had the same reserve seats in Tiger Stadium since 1980, and I've seen some upsets. I've seen some impossible wins. It can happen. Anyway, enough of that.
It's the same flavor of pie that I was giving that look to Lara last week.
When she
I
was
looked at her
picking,
going, you didn't pick Tigers?
Yeah, against Santa Teresa, yeah. Like I said, it's here's what I would say. It's more of respect to how good Roswell is, and it's not a slight on Alamogordo. It's just respect to how good that Coyotes team is.
And that's why I mentioned Carla's brother, because I have a soft spot for Roswell, and I'm not going to be rooting against them. But after this, it's either Farmington or Deming.
Yep.
And do you think those games could be winnable?
Yeah, I think, Tigers definitely got to play better than the first time they played Deming. I don't know enough about Farmington, unfortunately. But,
Okay. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Saying.
Hey, listen, if they're in that one spot, they've got to certainly, that's supposed to be the easiest road to get to the championship game if you're the 1 seed. So I don't know where Alamogordo would go. I don't think they've ever played Farmington in the playoffs, and I would doubt they probably played Deming in the playoffs. Would be
Good
my
point.
guess. So they would certainly be on the road again.
It's
next week
better
if they
to
win.
leave the day before if you're going to Farmington.
Yeah, most definitely. It's a long trip. Went up there for Kirtland Central for boys basketball a couple years ago. All right, a rematch as well in Dexter tonight. Tularosa going over to play the Demons, 5 seed versus a 4 seed. Thule had no problem against Zuni last week, 150-0. That game was over in the third quarter. Of course, Dexter got the bye because of their win over Tularosa. These teams played just 2 weeks ago. It was a 28-14 win for the Demons. The stat that stands out is, I think, at least from the stats that are online, that Tularosa had 6 or 7 turnovers in that game. They had 4 picks and 2 lost fumbles. They didn't play well. They still only lost by 14. So I think that's at least a part of it. Now, I don't know what will happen in this game. I think these are 2 very evenly matched teams. They like to do the same kind of things. They want to run the football. They both depend on their defenses in order to win football games. I'm not sure they're necessarily a mirror image, but they're very, very close, to the kind of football team that they are. So Dexter won the first game. They're going to end up hosting both games. The question is, do you believe Tularosa can have a better game than they did the first time around? Justin, we'll start with you, man.
I do. I'm going to go with the Wildcats.
All right. Brendan.
Now, Thule lost here to Dexter?
No,
there.
No, they went there and lost. Man. Tough game, tough game. I'm going to go Dexter just because they're at home. But I hope the Wildcats come in there and eat their lunch.
Tim.
I think Tularosa beating Eunice early in the year might be equal in the terms of impressive as Alamogordo beating Artesia. That's really the big difference for Tularosa this year, that they've been able to do that. They've won some close games, and then they lost that close game to Dexter. There's not a whole lot here to look at to say who's going to be the better team. We use this terminology a lot, that it's a coin flip. I kind of figured everybody's going to go Thule, so I'm going to go Dexter just because I'm going to try to get one up on people. But when I'm going early in this show, I don't know that for sure. So I'm going to go Dexter.
All right. Jake.
Yeah, on paper, these teams are virtually a mirror image of each other. I have to feel like Tularosa is going to go in and want to avenge that loss that they had the other day. I'm going to take Tularosa. I really am. This one, I like. Gosh, I like this matchup, but taking Thule.
And Jake, I'm going to say your beard's filling in nicely,
I
man.
hate it.
Well, it's just saying.
Is this a Movember thing that you're doing there?
No, it's something my barber actually challenged me just to kind of see what he's got, like this long thing, and it looks scraggly, and I was like, I don't know, I've never grown mine, so let's just see how it goes. But I'm just
he's always
I'm
talking
not
about
loving
other
it.
people's beards, so I
know.
figure,
It's a little unkempt. Like Brandon's is a little bit fuller, and I don't know, it looks a little bit nicer.
And I asked Brandon what he used. I literally have his stuff in my beard right now, and it doesn't look the same way. So I just I don't know.
It'll take
Charles
some time.
says
I like my clean cut look a little bit better than what this is turning out.
I just have beard envy because I can't grow anything like that kind of beard.
Can I just review real quick? You said you loved me, and you told Jake that his beard was unkempt and not as nice as Brandon's.
Yeah.
I'm winning the day.
Yeah.
And Brandon, you're in a close second.
I'm going to go Tularosa. I think that they'll play considerably better this time. I still think it's going to be a close game. It'll be a 7 to a 14-point difference, but I think the Wildcats will have a better day today, and they'll get the win. Manny?
Yeah, the rematch is hard to evaluate. Both of these teams are 8-2. Tularosa's put up 303 points. Dexter's put up 308. Tularosa's given up a small number of points fewer, 107 versus 133. I think what you said earlier is the most important point, Charles, is the mistakes that Tule made in the past. Clean those up, play error-free, believe, and you can win in Dexter on the road. I'm going Tularosa Wildcats. Go Cats.
All right, let's move on to some of the big schools. 6A matchups. A real good one between La Cueva and Clovis this Friday night. This will be at Clovis. The first time these teams played, which was just a couple of weeks ago, Clovis won in Albuquerque 30-25. La Cueva's coming off a 41-27 win over El Dorado in the first round. Of course, Clovis ended up getting the bye from the 2 seed. So another rematch, and I think most of these are rematches except for the last one we're going to talk about in high school. So I think a tough one. It was a 5-point game the first time around. The question is, do you think the home field switch makes that big of a difference? Brandon?
Absolutely it does. I mean, Clovis has got to be excited, right? I mean, they've got to be excited with this team that they've had that has done some big things this year. So I think that makes a huge difference. It is a good-sized road trip. I mean, it's, probably a 5-hour trip?
3 hours from Albuquerque.
No, I guess it's not. I always get Clovis and Cobb's. No, I get those two flipped all.
Well, from here it's 4 hours, but from Albuquerque, I think on 40 it's only like a 3.5 hour trip. So
I'm gonna go Clovis. I think Clovis. I really want them to win.
Okay, I got you, Tim.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously I've never seen either one of these teams play. There's not a whole lot separating them. They did play each other, as you mentioned, 35-30. Clovis beat La Cueva in La Cueva, but I'm going to go with La Cueva getting revenge, and I'm going to probably have a very Albuquerque-heavy pick, even though I like the Southern teams better. I'm going to, just throw you guys a curveball today.
All right, very good.
Mr. Phillips doesn't like that.
There it is.
No judgment here.
Jake?
I have plenty of judgment on my side. Don't worry.
Bring it.
Yeah, but however, I agree with Tim. I don't really have any idea on this one either. I'm taking Tularosa for their revenge, but I still think Clovis is probably the better one in this one, so I don't think La Cueva is going to be able to pull the revenge scheme on this one. I'm going to take Clovis at home.
I just think they're at Leon Williams Stadium. It's going to be a little bit too tough for La Cueva. Clovis got the win on the road the first time. I think that's what probably stands out for me, but everything that you can look at, this is going to be another close matchup, and La Cueva is very good. They're probably not in that top tier of teams this year in the state in 6A, but they definitely can be competitive and can win against any of those teams. Just haven't done it as much as I'm sure as they would like to. But I'm going to go Wildcats in their place. Manny?
Yeah, the other game is Centennial in Cleveland. And so that's going to be fun to be watching over as well. And here's the difference. Last week I said keep an eye on Clovis. And I've got friends in Clovis, and I've been kind of monitoring what they're doing. And another program I have an admiration for. We got Bodie out of Clovis with Standerfer. We got Scroggins. All those guys are friends of ours, former coaches here in Alamogordo, and there's others. But this time of the year, Clovis gets the magic, and they get the mojo, and they get the purple place. I'm going Wildcats.
Justin?
I'll go Clovis as well.
All right. Las Cruces headed to Rio Rancho in another rematch from earlier this season, which Rio Rancho won in Las Cruces 26-21 earlier this season. Cruces coming off a 51-7 win over Sandia last week. They're 9-2. Rio Rancho 6-4. The Rams have played a real tough schedule this year. Last game they played was a 35-20 loss to Cleveland, and mainly the difference between who got that bye was probably the head-to-head matchup between those two teams that Rio Rancho won, which is why they're the 4 seed and Cruces is the 5. But I think this is as tough a game as it was to pick when we had it on the sheet back in, I think they played back in September. Does home field make a difference? Cruces has to go on the road this time. A lot of different things to take into account here. Tim.
Well, Las Cruces hasn't lost since they played Rio Rancho way back. I think Rio Rancho's win against Cruces and their win against Clovis is looking really big. They had a brutal schedule, Rio Rancho did. So I think, even though Rio Rancho beat Las Cruces way back on September 14th, I would wipe that out. I wouldn't really even consider that. I just think Rio Rancho's battle-tested. I think Cruces is due for a loss, and so I'm going to go with the Rams.
All right. Jake.
So Max Preps has Rio Rancho ranked at 6, even though they've lost 4 games, versus Las Cruces, which is ranked at 8, and they're 9-2. So it's definitely they're definitely respecting Rio Rancho's schedule, I think, here, and that they've had a murderer's row of a year.
Because Tim mentioned those 2 games. That was before they went into district and had to play Volcano Vista and Cleveland. I mean, so yeah, they've had an immensely tough schedule this year.
But I don't know, because I keep the Rams are just not showing up in some spots, and I don't know if it's just schedule or if it's maybe I don't know. I'm gonna take the Bulldogs. Let's take Cruces in this one.
Kind of been on Rio Rancho's bandwagon this year just because I was impressed with, they had a bad loss to Centennial because they were up big, and the Hawks came back and beat them in double overtime up there in Rio Rancho. They lost to the Colorado school. I can't think which one it was, but then had the wins over. I think they beat La Cueva. I think they beat Cruces. They had some nice wins. Clovis is another one as well. And so I like the way that they battled through. A little concerning the way that they've lost their last 2 games heading into the postseason. They lost Volcano Vista. They lost to Cleveland. Clearly, those are both excellent football teams. So you just wonder where their heads are at. They're at home. I'm going to go Rio Rancho, but man, again, we use the term too much. 50-50 game, coin flip. I think it's as close as it can be, and just kind of depends on who executes tonight. Manny?
And that's it. You mentioned Las Cruces' defeat on September 14th. That was ages ago in football measurement of time. That was a long time ago. Las Cruces is 9-2, Rio Rancho 6-4. Las Cruces has put up 442 points and given up 181. Rio Rancho scored a lot of points, but not as many as Las Cruces, 399, and given up 301. Defense wins championships. I think that's the edge in this one. I don't care where it's being played. I think Las Cruces is going to beat Rio Rancho tonight.
All right. Justin, can you pick Las Cruces? Is that like against the Mayfield code there?
I'm going to Rio Rancho.
You're going to Rio Rancho?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Brandon, how about you?
I think what Manny said was exactly what would have been on my mind is Las Cruces is to go and play in that class and to be able to put up those kind of points and keep the opponents from scoring on them. Defense in these games can make the difference, and I think this is going to be a very close game. I don't think it's going to be a 20-point difference. I really think this is going to come down to the very end, and I'm going to go with Las Cruces on the road.
Okay. One even split there. That's kind of fun. Mm-hmm. All right, Centennial going up to Cleveland. Centennial being a 6th seed, and they're 10-1 this year. I mean, their only losses to Cruces. They've had a great year. They beat Cibola 37-7 last week. Kind of got off to a slow start, but they pulled away late. So Cleveland getting a bye. They had the win over Rio Rancho. That win got them the 3 seed. They might have actually fallen down a little bit further if they hadn't have won that game. So, the Storm have had an excellent year as well. This is another one. They're 8-2. That it's really hard to get a gauge on what we're going to get out of this football game. But it is in Rio Rancho, and last time Centennial was in Rio Rancho, I just mentioned that double overtime win over Rio Rancho. So they've got some good feelings, maybe a little bit of good mojo from that. Different football team they've got to play tonight, though. What do you think, Jake?
Let's take Centennial.
On the road.
Hawks on the road.
Okay. Man, these last 3 games, it's all about, are you going with the South or are you going with the metro area in a lot of these? And the metro area has been better, I feel like, in recent years. I don't know if Cleveland's by far the better football team, but I think they're going to win tonight. I'm going to go with the Storm. Manny?
Boy, in this one, you talk about needing a quarter or a $50 coin or something because that's how I feel about this one. The Hawks have scored 476 points compared to Cleveland's total of 386. That's nearly 100 difference, right? Is my math correct? Check me. And now, on defense, the Centennial has allowed 136, with Cleveland's allowed 162. I guess I'm going Hawks on the road. Why not?
Okay. Justin?
I got Cleveland at home.
Okay. Brandon?
I'll go Cleveland at home as well.
Tim?
I would just like to point out, when you think about the top 7 teams in the 6A standings for the state playoffs, Volcano Vista, Cleveland, or Clovis, Cleveland, Rio, LC, Centennial, La Cueva, dude, you could literally swap those in any order and not have anybody blink an eye. So it's very fascinating playoffs. I'm super excited about watching these games. We have no idea. I love that we're splitting hairs here. What you said is exactly right, and that was my thought going in, Charles, is that we either believe the teams in Albuquerque are better, or the teams in Cruces are better. And I'd love for the Cruces teams to be better, but I think it's Albuquerque. I'm going to go with Cleveland.
And, of course, we've got a lot of other state playoff games going on. We've got an 8-man championship tonight. Tatum is facing off against Melrose. I'm sorry, that's tomorrow afternoon? No, it is tonight. Okay, they actually are playing that championship game tonight. Most of the championship games are usually on Saturday afternoon, so that's kind of cool that they get to do that. 2A semifinals, Eunice taking on Fort Sumner. Texaco is facing off against Hagerman. I think the bigger question in that bracket is, can anybody actually beat Eunice? Bloomfield's host Ruidoso. Congrats to the Warriors, by the way, last week for getting a win over St. Pius, which some of us guessed wrong. I would be one of those. I don't remember who else went with St. Pius. Yeah. Kirtland Central is at Grants. Lovington is hosting Aztec, and Portales is hosting Silver. All those games are Saturday afternoon games there in Class 4A. And elsewhere in 5A, we mentioned Farmington and Deming. They play tomorrow afternoon. Goddard will host Piedra Vista. There's some crazy road trips in here. And Los Lunas is hosting Artesia. I'm really curious to see what happens in that game. If Artesia, facing off against 2-seed, can get a win, I'm interested. And of course, the other 6A game, which we didn't have here on our sheet, was Mayfield is playing at Volcano Vista. So best luck to all those teams. And we'll take a break. We'll come back with more of the KNMZ Football Roundtable on ESPN Alamogordo 103.7.
At Charles Garland and Harris Insurance, we are proud of the great high schools in Alamogordo, Cloudcroft, Mescalero, and Tularosa. Our student-athletes set a valuable example for everyone to follow. They work hard to succeed in the classroom and in competitive sports and contribute enormous time and energy to bring pride to their schools and community. At Charles Garland and Harris Insurance, as we work hard to protect the families and businesses of Otero County, we proudly take pause to follow our student-athletes and extend our best wishes for their success every day in the classroom and on game day.
Now you have a choice when it comes to keeping massive files of your bank statements every month. With an online e-statement, you'll have an accurate, easy-to-read electronic statement you can access anywhere, anytime. Get more control over your cash flow. And no more giant filing cabinets. Our e-statements get an A+. First National Bank, member FDIC. When you grow, we grow.
Are you looking to rent or need someone to manage your property? Hi, I'm Jake Roberts with Coldwell Banker, Sudderth Nelson. Did you know that we are the largest property management company in Alamogordo? Whether you are looking for a short-term housing solution or to turn an existing property into a great long-term investment, give us a call at 575-437-1137. Visit our website today at alamogordocoldwellbanker.com or come by and see us at 800 Scenic Drive.
Wow, look at all those bright colors.
Yep, good old Tularosa Basin sunsets.
No, Mike, I just came from the Chevy house and I have a 2020 in my sights.
While everyone else still has 2019 vision, we have the new 2020 models in stock right now.
With supplier pricing in full effect for the 2019 models,
Which gotta go.
you can also get a great deal on a brand new, just in inventory, newly released, never ever seen before, new to the area.
Hey, they get it. The 2020s are exclusively here at Desert Sun Motor Chevrolet.
Plus, we have the best in Market. Best service, tenderly loved and regrettably traded in pre-owned vehicles within 250 miles. We will not be undersold. All offers will be accepted.
That's right. With little or no money down financing and higher than market value for your trade, how could you not come down to 2600 North White Sands Boulevard or visit us online at DuttersonMotors.com.
See dealer for details. All available 2019s are still in stock. Not all 2020s have arrived yet. Deals may be the hottest under the sun. Purchase of one or more vehicles could increase your heart rate. Proud supporter of Taco Tuesdays. Keep hands and feet inside at all times. Do not attempt this at home.
Here at Christ Community, we are all about Jesus, we're all about people, and all about community. We are more than a building, more than a gathering. We are more than a religion. We are a place to belong, a place to be changed, and a place to experience relationship with God and others. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, and no matter what you've done, Jesus loves you, we love you, and you belong here at Christ Community.
You're listening to ESPN Alamogordo 103.7. This is the KNMZ Football Roundtable. Moving on to our college picks for this week. And we'll begin with the SEC, 11th-ranked Florida going to Missouri. 8-2 for Florida, 5-4 for Mizzou. Not a huge line here, just 6.5 for Florida. And I do think it's kind of a tough place to have to go on the road and play there at Mizzou. So this is not not an easy matchup, but boy, this one feels like if Florida can't get this, they're still alive to a point to maybe get to the SEC title game. They would need some, or actually I don't think they can do that because they lost to Georgia. So even if Georgia loses a game here at the end of the season, but they can certainly finish strong and put themselves in a good position to get into a good bowl game. So Tim?
Yeah, and they've had a great year under Dan Mullen. I'm really, really happy about the direction Florida's going, just to even be remotely close to the top 10. Their 2 losses were to LSU and Georgia. That's respectable, and both games were close. Missouri, they got Kelly Bryant, though. He's the old Clemson quarterback. But all I have to say is they lost to Vanderbilt. So I'm taking Florida.
I love Vanderbilt. Is it Derek Mason that's coaching at Vandy? He gave a post-game speech after one of their wins, and it's one of those that, you're ready to go run through a wall for that guy.
Nice.
It was so good. So, and I think it's Derek Mason who used to play in the NFL. I think, but
is he the one who caught the pass in the Music City Miracle?
No, he might have returned it. So yeah, I guess he was the one that returned it. Was it Mason?
I think it was. I don't know. You blocked that out. Yeah, I just thought.
Oh no, it's always there, but it's always a forward pass in my mind. So, Jake.
I like Florida in this matchup. I don't know that I really have a good reason why.
Okay. I think the Gators will get the win on the road. I think they're the better football team, but I do think this is a scary matchup. And I think just where the money is going, obviously there's a lot of people who think that they don't need a lot of points to try and bet on Mizzou going into this game. Manny?
Yeah, I like this is a trap game. No telling. I think it's going to be more interesting than people are predicting, but I'm going to have to go Florida on the road.
Justin?
Same.
Brandon?
Yeah, make that a sweep. I mean, I think it's going to be a closer game than 7, honestly, but
yeah.
Yeah,
it could be. Hopefully it is a good game. Just hoping for some good football games this weekend. For the first time since 1978, Navy and Notre Dame are both ranked going into a matchup, which is really fun. Navy 7-1, Notre Dame is 7-2, 7.5-point favorites in Notre Dame. But I feel like these are always tough games for. We saw it with Michigan and Army earlier on in the season that you go up against these option teams, and if those option teams have a good day, it just causes a lot of problems. We talked about time of possession with the Tigers a little bit earlier. That's another big thing that we'll see in this one. If Navy can get the time of possession on their side, could make a big difference. And, man, these games are always pretty close and just a great classic rivalry in college football.
Yeah, I hate this matchup. I hate this matchup. The midshipmen, like all the academies, these kids are smart. They're disciplined. They stay inside their lanes. They do everything right. And they got that option offense, which Notre Dame doesn't get to see very much. Nobody does. And so I hate this game in terms of the possibilities of Notre Dame getting upset at home. But I'm going to go ahead and pick the Irish. Queen of Heaven. Touchdown, Jesus.
And here's something else as well. For the first time in, I think, 363 games, not a sellout for Notre Dame. Both this and the BC game. Kind of crazy that both of those are not going to be sellouts.
Well, how big a deal is that?
Yeah, kind of surprising. Justin?
I got Notre Dame at home.
All right, Brandon?
This is the Notre Dame. I think it just has played a harder schedule, and so just with that, I'm going to go Notre Dame, but I think Navy can really make this a very interesting game. I really do. I think this is going to be a fun game to watch all around.
Tim?
Yeah, I'm excited about this game. I'll be pulling for Navy. My dad served in the Navy back in World War II, believe it or not. But I'm going to pick Notre Dame.
Okay. Jake?
I want to be bold. I want to go out there and take Navy.
Do it.
Navy has actually beaten Notre Dame like the last 5 times they've matched up.
Oh, no, not that many.
I think that's what this is.
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
Which
I don't
facts?
know.
Those are facts.
I don't know.
Which internet was
It's
that
on the
on?
internet, so it must be true. But I'm not going to do it. I'll take Notre Dame.
I'm going to have to go and check that one because I know they've beaten them recently, but I don't think it's...
5 times.
Yeah, I don't think it's been the
I
last...
mean, how many times have they actually played in the
They
last?
play every year.
Every year.
Yeah, they do. They play
That's
every
okay,
year.
Jake. You do that. You could have just been like, bro, it's just a joke. Just trying to make this radio show
I'm
funny.
good with it.
Notre Dame has won 4 of the last 5.
I can be wrong.
Maybe
I'm
they
wrong.
just played 5 times.
We appreciate your humility. Humility is an important attribute to have.
I misread things all the time. It's fine.
And this one is actually at Notre Dame. That's something it's been a little bit different. Is they don't at least in a lot of recent years they end up playing at neutral sites. It seems like
Right,
So,
they go on their recruiting trips.
like next year's game is in Ireland.
Well, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
To clarify, it's 5-0 against the odds. I apologize.
Okay. All right. I'll give you that. They've all been close. I mean, last year was a blowout. Notre Dame won by 7 2 years ago. It was a 1-point game that Navy won. I think Notre Dame's defense is going to win this game for them. I think the offense has had some struggles this year, but Notre Dame's defense, when they're on, they are very, very good. So I'm going to go with the Irish. I really wanted to go Navy, but I just didn't have the guts to do it. All right, number 4, Georgia, going to number 12, Auburn, and Georgia at 8-1. They really can get into the SEC title game. It doesn't really matter what happens over these last few games. I guess if they lost their last 2 SEC games, they would end up being out, but. Auburn's had a nice season, 7-2. They've just kind of been chugging along. They don't really have bad losses on their schedule. They've got a great win over Oregon, and they've got Alabama coming up on their schedule. They can make some noise here at the end of the season. I think a tough one to pick. 3 points going to Georgia on the road in this matchup. Justin, who do you like, man?
I like Georgia.
Georgia on the road. Brandon.
I've struggled with this game. I'm going to go Auburn just to be different, but man, I really hope Auburn wins. I do. I need them. I need Auburn to win this game.
It definitely would help you out a little
yes,
bit.
Absolutely.
You want to catch up with Manny there a little bit. Tim.
2 great quarterbacks, Jake Fromm, Bo Nix. 2 probably even better defensive lines. Those guys are going to have pretty awkward days. But I think DeAndre Swift, the running back for Georgia, is going to be the difference, so I'm going to go with Georgia.
Jake.
I'll take Georgia.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Georgia on the road. I think they'll get the win. Manny?
Yeah, I can think back to week 5 when Georgia beat Notre Dame 23-17. I got a lot of respect for Georgia. I'm going to go Georgia on the road.
All righty. See if Brandon picks one up on us there. Speaking of Brandon, his Oklahoma Sooners getting 10.5 points, 8-1, going in to play undefeated Baylor. Kind of shows that there's not a lot of respect being shown Baylor's way. This is very similar to last week with Minnesota hosting Penn State, and that not a lot of people gave Minnesota much of a chance. I think the line is a little bit heavier towards Oklahoma than it was for Penn State last week, but I get why the line is where it is. Again, that's just where the money is going, but Baylor can make a lot of noise here, and they'll have the inside line of getting to the college football playoff. Oklahoma still has a chance. They've got to win out the rest of the way, and that still, unfortunately, may not be enough, but definitely puts them in the position they need to be in. Brandon?
I think Baylor is going to make this an interesting game. I think 10.5 points to Oklahoma is I don't think that's accurate at all. I think it's going to be a closer game than that, to be honest with you. But I've got to go with the Sooners. I think they should win this game. But I think Baylor is going to put up a good fight. I think it's going to be a one of those nail biters like last week.
Yeah, that one that shouldn't have been a nail biter last week.
Absolutely.
You were probably sitting there watching and going, "What is going on here?" Tim.
Well, I got it dead wrong last week when I said Penn State would blow out Minnesota. But I'm going to say it again. I think Oklahoma is going to blow out Baylor. Baylor, yeah, they're undefeated, but it took triple overtime to beat TCU. They barely beat West Virginia, who's terrible. They had to beat Texas Tech in 2 overtimes. They did beat Kansas State, which Oklahoma can't say.
Yeah. But
just throwing that out there.
That TCU Baylor game, what an exciting finish that was. I mean, that was.
I don't actually watch football, but
that was an exciting game. For those of you guys that didn't watch it, that ending was probably one of the best endings to football I've seen all year. I mean, they battled it out, and the better team won.
I'll take Oklahoma.
I'll say Oklahoma didn't deserve last week to win that game. To be honest with you, I think they didn't deserve that.
At least they had enough of a buffer that they gave up some of those late turnovers. That was scary. If you're an Oklahoma fan, Jake.
Yeah, I'm just not feeling the boldness today. I'm going to Oklahoma. It's not there.
Tim's right. The schedule hasn't been very good for Baylor. They've found a way to win, and it's what Matt Rule has done there to get them back from the Art Briles era. Kudos to him and to turn the Baylor program around. It seems like it's not. We're not there yet. But if they do win, awesome. When it comes to college football, I'm all about chaos. I want to see lots of losses from the top teams, and to make the playoff committee basically want to pull their hair out when they have to make a decision. So I don't know which result in this game would make that difference, but I think the Sooners are just too good. They should win this football game. Manny?
I've only got one game in my underdog bucket this week, and that's the Alamogordo Tigers. I have to go Oklahoma.
Justin?
Is Jalen Hurts hurt?
No, I think he's going to play. I haven't heard anything about him being hurt. So
he's not hurt.
I'll go Oklahoma then.
Okay.
Actually, no, Jalen Hurts. Hurts his knee.
Hurts is hurt.
There it is.
He's hurt.
Minnesota at Iowa. And all of us sat here, none of us picked Minnesota last week, and I'd probably, if you made me pick it again, not knowing the result, I probably would have picked Penn State every time. So, but Minnesota jumps up to number 8 with that win over Penn State. And what do they get for that? Being an underdog at Iowa this week, who's number 20 in the nation. Iowa's 6-3. Minnesota, of course, is undefeated at 9-0. Yeah, that's the question. Do you believe in Minnesota after last week? Iowa's got a great defense. They're a good football team. Definitely feels like after everything they put into last week, man, they could really end up hurting their chance at getting the college football playoff with a loss here. Jake?
I think you should go first, Charles.
All right. You want me to go first?
You haven't gone first yet.
I second Brandon's motion.
I go second both times. I mean, this is a tough one to pick just based on can Minnesota carry over what we saw last week. Which football team shows up? The team early in the season that barely beat Fresno State and barely beat North Dakota State and a couple other teams that I think was one of the Georgia Southern or something like that in there, or is the team that's played so well the second half of the season? Let's row the boat. I'll go Minnesota. Manny?
Is Iowa favored by 3?
Yeah. So home field.
Goodness gracious. I need a coin. I don't know what to do. I guess I'm going to go Golden Gophers. I'm impressed with what happened with Penn State. I'm going Golden Gophers.
All right. Justin?
Iowa.
All right. Brandon?
I'll take Minnesota. I mean, I think they deserve the win.
Tim?
Love PJ Fleck. Love the row the boat theme. That's fun. But can Iowa score enough to kill Cinderella? I think the answer is yes.
As long as they can stop Minnesota from scoring, that's probably all that really matters.
They can.
So, Jake?
The Penn State win was definitely shocking. But again, I go back and I look at it, and I'm not impressed with their schedule. I think they might be riding a bit of a high, but I feel like Iowa's probably the better team.
All right, going with Iowa. Nice even split there. We like it. Alabama's got Mississippi State this week. Clemson, I think, plays Wake Forest. It's for Lara. I thought that could have been a ranked matchup there, but unfortunately Wake Forest gets blown out by Virginia Tech. So, and New Mexico State, hey, they're going to get their first win of the year, I hope, against Incarnate Word this week. I keep on saying I'm a terrible person to do the promos for it because
Incarnate Word.
Yeah, University of the Incarnate Word this week. By the way, you can listen to that game here on ESPN Alamogordo, 1 p.m. pregame, 2 o'clock kickoff. Aggies are back at home this week. All right, we'll come back, and more of the KNMZ Football Roundtable coming up for you next on ESPN Alamogordo.
Wow.
look at all those bright colors.
Yep, good old Tularosa Basin sunsets.
No, Mike, I just came from the Chevy house and I have a 2020 in my sights.
While everyone else still has 2019 vision, we have the new 2020 models in stock right now.
With supplier pricing in full effect for the 2019 models,
Which gotta go.
you can also get a great deal on a brand new, just in inventory, newly released, never ever seen before, new to the area.
Hey, they get it. The 2020s are exclusively here at Desert Sun Motor Chevrolet.
Plus, we have the best in market, best service, tenderly loved and regrettably traded in pre-owned vehicles within 250 miles. We will not be undersold. All offers will be accepted.
That's right. With little or no money down financing and higher than market value for your trade, how could you not come down to 2600 North White Sands Boulevard or visit us online at DesertSunMotors.com.
See dealer for details. All available 2019s are still in stock. Not all 2020s have arrived yet. Deals may be the hottest under the sun. Purchase of one or more vehicles could increase your heart rate. Proud supporter of Taco Tuesdays. Keep hands and feet inside at all times. Do not attempt this at home.
Hi, my name is Jake Roberts, and I'm a realtor with Coldwell Banker Southern Nelson. Are you looking for your dream home, or are you looking to sell your property and need the guidance to get noticed? I can help you with professional real estate services today. Call me at 575-446-8574 or email me at jake@nmvistas.com. To view a list of our inventory, visit our website at alamogordo-coldwellbanker.com or visit us at 800 Scenic Drive in Alamogordo.
Sometimes you just need a loan. Your daughter Debbie is getting married. Your son Toby needs a new tuba. Let's face it, families cost money. Things come up that you had no way of predicting. We make personal loans for occasions like this to people who have good credit. So next time you find yourself connected to the unexpected, stop in and see us about a personal loan, subject to credit approval. First National Bank, member FDIC. When you grow, we grow.
At Charles Garland and Harris Insurance, we are proud of the great high schools in Alamogordo, Cloudcroft, Mescalero, and Tularosa. Our student athletes set a valuable example for everyone to follow. They work hard to succeed in the classroom and in competitive sports and contribute enormous time and energy to bring pride to their schools and community. At Charles Garland and Harris Insurance, as we work hard to protect the families and businesses of Otero County, we proudly take pause to follow our student athletes and extend our best wishes for their success every day in the classroom and on game day.
Here at Christ Community, we are all about Jesus, we're all about people, and all about community. We are more than a building, more than a gathering. We are more than a religion. We are a place to belong, a place to be changed, and a place to experience relationship with God and others. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, and no matter what you've done, Jesus loves you, we love you, and you belong here at Christ Community.
Today's forecast is calling for sunny skies, mostly cloudy tonight in Alamogordo, high of 57, low of 38 for Cloudcroft, high of 50 and overnight low of 27. For tomorrow, we're looking at partly sunny skies, mostly clear tomorrow night. Alamogordo tomorrow, high of 64, low of 41 for Cloudcroft tomorrow, high of 55 and overnight low of 34 degrees. There are no roadblocks scheduled today on either Highway 70 or 54 South. For the latest roadblock information, call 575-678-1178.
You're listening to ESPN Alamogordo 103.7. Welcome back to the KNMZ Football Roundtable. Moving on to our pro picks for this week. And we start off with the Dallas Cowboys going to the Detroit Lions. Cowboys getting 4.5 in this game. Coming off a tight loss to Minnesota last week. And a Detroit team that, as far as I know, isn't going to have Matt Stafford. I think that's still up in the air. I
got him on my fantasy teams, and he's projected to score 22.7 points. So that tells me he's playing.
Terry Bradshaw told me last night that he is.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that he's out.
So this morning,
he still has broken ribs and
back.
The back issue is the thing that's he's
I'm going to check that because I might need to bench him.
Yeah, this morning the line was 3.5, and it just moved to 6.5. So
that tells me
probably true. Yeah, if that's the word, that's probably moving significantly.
I mean, Terry Bradshaw was betting his townhome in New York.
His
trailer. Against
Okay, well, it's a must-win. Cowboys have a miserable schedule left. If they don't win this game against a Matt Stafford-less
Jeff Driscoll, by the way, I think is who's starting.
Former Gator, I would throw out. Yeah, I'm going Dallas. Matt Stafford's from Dallas, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, played at one of the big high schools there in the
with Clayton Kershaw.
Area. Yeah. Jake.
Yeah, Driscoll is definitely starting. Apparently, Matt Stafford sat himself in the Chicago game.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on. The NFL's investigating what's going on with the team and that. So
Really
maybe the
interesting.
doctors are not doing the things they're supposed to be doing there in Detroit.
So I'm going to take Dallas.
I like the Cowboys on the road. I think without Stafford, this would be a terrible loss for the Cowboys if they lose this one. So, Manny.
Must win for the Cowboys. If they got any aspirations to go deep into the playoffs, they got to win this one. They got to win the rest of them. I'm going Cowboys.
Justin.
Cowboys as well.
Brandon.
Yeah, Cowboys should win this game. And if they don't, I mean, it's just their luck.
Yeah. Bills are going to Miami. They're getting 6.5 in this game. I feel a little bit better about that Bills loss to Cleveland last week based on what happened last night because Pittsburgh's played well and Cleveland obviously we talked about it on last week's show. Cleveland's played a really murderous schedule, and
what was the score though? It was like 9-.
No, 21-7 was the score last night. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about Buffalo. And
1916.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and Cleveland's finally starting to show a little bit of maturity. Sans.
Yeah. Well, I think
that.
I would also say don't talk about Myles Garrett. I think the schedule is getting a little bit easier for Cleveland as well. The Bills should win this game, but I'd say the Dolphins have won 2 straight. There's a little bit of Fitz magic going on there. I think it depends on which Ryan Fitzpatrick shows up. They nearly beat the Bills the last time they played them, so this is a game the Bills should win, so I'll pick Buffalo, but my confidence level is dipping every single week with this football team. So I'm just hoping that after starting 5-1 or 5-2, whatever it was, that they can hold on and make the playoffs. Manny?
You know, I've been impressed with the Buffalo Bills. I'm a little worried about this one, though. There's something about going into Miami right now, this time of the season. Miami's got a little mojo going, a little spark, a little bit of giddy up in their giddy up.
So you're taking Miami?
I'm taking Miami.
Okay. I don't blame him. I think that this is a scary game for the Bills. If they come out and play the way they did last week against Cleveland, I think Miami can win them, beat them.
Erasing his
Justin.
pick.
I had it in pencil. I put them all in pencil until I hear you guys in your chatter.
Okay.
I got the Bills.
All right. Brandon?
I'm glad to see Miami pick up a win, including the win over the Colts, not too long ago. That was pretty embarrassing. But, Colts have had a quarterback issue there. But, I think Buffalo should win this game. I'm going to go Buffalo on the road.
Tim?
Yeah, Buffalo's lost 2 out of 3. Miami's won 2 out of 2. I'm going to go Buffalo.
All right. Jake?
Buffalo should win this game, and Patrick is just a little too. I was auto-correcting myself to Fitz magic, like that's how bad that is.
That's okay.
He's just too streaky for me. I can't get a
Yeah,
good
but he's
beat on
hot.
him. He's hot, but he may not stay that way. So I'm gonna take Buffalo.
He was hot last week. It's definitely a week-to-week
It
thing
is
for him for
week-to-week.
sure. So
He's due 5 interceptions.
he really is. I mean, he's good for a 5-6 interception game. That's something for sure. All right, Jacksonville gets Nick Foles back this week, and they get Indianapolis coming off a bye week. Jacksonville's coming off a bye week, not Indy. Indy, of course, lost the game to Miami last week.
Of course.
And Indy, 3-point favorites in this game. Brissett, I haven't seen. He's back this week?
It was just released. He's back.
Okay, so
T.Y. Hilton's still out,
but I think having Brissett in the lineup makes a big difference. No offense to Brian Hoyer, but it's definitely it's shown not having him in the lineup what kind of difference it makes. Brandon?
Colts.
Tim?
I was hoping for a little bit more elaboration.
I had it marked on my sheet before he said anything. Right?
Yeah, I love Nick Foles. You should listen to what he said the other day when interviewed about his injury and very godly Christian man. But I'm with you at the oil can, as our boy would say. I've been there. I've been to Lucas Oil in Indianapolis, Naptown. So I'm going to go with Indianapolis.
Okay. Jake?
That's the only reason.
Well, I love Nick Foles, but yeah, I just want to reiterate that. Love Nick Foles. I want Jacksonville to win, but I like Indianapolis.
Never heard Naptown, so just
Really?
on that alone, I'm taking Indianapolis.
Take Naptown, baby.
I'm going to go Jags. I think on the road, Foles will play well, and the Jags they've been there. They've found a way to win with Gardner Minshew. I think with Foles back in the lineup, they're a better football team. So I'm going to go with the Jags on the road. Manny?
This one will go into overtime. I'm going Colts.
Justin?
I got the Jags.
Ooh, interesting.
See, trying to pick one up on Lara, and I'm not able to do it. Oh, well.
Either going to have a really good week or a really bad one.
We say that a lot. It usually ends up being right about 500, unfortunately, for us. New England's getting 3.5 on the road against Philly. New England is 8-1, coming off the defeat to Baltimore. And Philly sitting at 5-4. New England finally getting to a part of their schedule where they're playing some good football teams, whereas early it didn't feel like that. Philly ain't great, but they're definitely one of the better teams the Patriots have played this year.
Who took Baltimore last week?
You mean against New England?
Yeah.
I didn't, but
I did. I took Seattle over the 49ers and got that.
Well, no, that was 2 weeks.
And that was my Charles Garland and Harris.
That was 2 weeks ago.
Half of us got that right.
Lock of the week. Lock of the week.
That's the one that
I told you to go to the bank and cash the check.
Baltimore crushed Cincinnati last week. That was the one where Jackson had that great spin move at the middle of the field, scored the touchdown. So we'll see what happens with New England and Philly. Justin, you're filling in. Who do you like?
I might get in trouble, but I'm going to go Philly.
Oh, I like it. Brandon.
I just don't feel confident in Philly. I'm going to go New England.
Tim.
I think these are my two least favorite teams in the NFL, so I hope doom and gloom upon them both. But I'm going to pick New England.
All right. Jake.
Yeah, this one's tough because, really, I don't think Brady's really played well at all this year. Their defense is probably still good. They were being crowned as the best of all time here a little bit earlier in the season. I think that was a little rash. It bothers me because Tom Brady says that loss is still stuck in his head for the Super Bowl. And the fact that he's still saying stuff like that is very uncharacteristic of him. It really bothers me. Maybe they are legitimately in his head. I'm going to take New England, but, man, I do not feel good about that.
I don't know if that's uncharacteristic for him. He's like Jordan. He's like a lot of the other greats that any of the slights or the things that things that can keep him motivated. Yeah,
maybe, but he's like always the next game. It's rare that he looks back like that in a game. I don't know. It's weird to me.
I think the Patriots will get the win. They'll bounce back, but I should be a close game. Manny?
I think this will be a low-scoring affair. We know the Patriots' defense is very, very good. Only have allowed 98 points. But Philadelphia, that's a tough place to play. I'm going Eagles.
Oh, going Eagles. Now, Manny takes any opportunity to pick against the Patriots because it is never over.
It will never be over.
Never be over. All right, Cincinnati going to Oakland. Boy, the Bengals are bad and starting a rookie quarterback and pretty good chance for the Raiders to get 6-4, right, Manny?
Yes, sir. But still, I'm a little worried about this. The fact that Cincinnati has not won a football game, that bugs me. That bugs me a little bit. But it is in the biggity-biggity-o, the black hole. I'm going Oakland Raiders.
All right, let's just ask. Is anybody going Cincinnati in this game? Okay, everybody's going with the Raiders.
Repeat after me. Biggity-biggity-o.
Biggity-biggity-o.
Black hole.
Black hole.
Thank you.
All right, Houston at Baltimore. Great matchup this week. You get Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson facing off, and two pretty good defenses. Baltimore's just getting 4 points, so this is kind of a pick-em game. Home field plus a little bit more there for the Ravens, and I think a real fun one to watch this week. So we'll see what happens. Jake, let's start it off. Who you like, man?
Yeah, going to be a good game, but I think Baltimore's hot right now. I'm going to stick with Baltimore.
Bill O'Brien and the Texans just these are the kind of games they don't necessarily go out there and win. I really want to pick Houston here because I think I can get one, but
do it.
I'm gonna go Ravens. Manny?
I like Baltimore.
All right, Justin?
Baltimore.
Brandon?
I like Baltimore too.
Tim?
Okay.
Last 2 weeks, I've picked the team that nobody picked. I got Seattle right against the 49ers. Can NBC flex this game?
Not this week yet. I think it's still a little bit later in the season before they can start flexing. But
who cares about the Rams and Bears?
Yeah,
I don't.
No, it's not a very good game.
Yeah, so this would be a great game to flex if NBC had the power to do so. Man, Houston has Watson and Hopkins. Baltimore has Lamar. I'm going to go with Houston.
I don't think it's a bad pick. I didn't have the courage to go out there and do that. All right, so should be a fun week. We do want to remind you guys again, if you want to listen to Tiger football tonight, if you can't make it to the game, 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock kickoff. The Tigers face off against the face off against the Roswell Coyotes, and we'll have that game for you also on our ESPN Alamogordo YouTube channel. So we hope that we see a lot of folks make the trip, and we'll look forward to it. Will be a fun matchup. Yeah, we didn't really talk Myles Garrett that much, but he's suspended for the rest of the year if anybody wants to know. And so Pouncey got suspended for 3 games too, and
I think the punishment is fair, but it's very uncharacteristic of Myles Garrett. I really don't think he's that dirty. I think he's that dirty of a player.
You need to go. He's already been fined twice this year. I disagree.
He's had his moments.
Yeah.
He's been a bad boy.
He a helmet though?
No, he definitely went to a next level, but yeah, he's not a clean player for the most part.
And make sure everybody gives Maggie their cell phone, so when we're along tonight, make sure it comes us all.
I usually get a text after the game for the broadcast, but he's going to be there, so I'll get a text or he'll just yell up at me at the press box afterwards. So yeah, see you guys. All right, that's going to do it for our broadcast. Again, we'll talk to you guys from the Wool Bowl tonight at 6:30 here on ESPN Alamogordo 103.7. You guys have a fantastic rest of your Friday. And hey, if you want to see the Tigers off, they're going to be leaving around 1:30 from Alamogordo High School. They're going to be a send-off for them over there, so go and support your Tigers.